So, like I said, this morning we are going to look at variables, constants, data types. Wherever that we reach, you stop and then you continue next week. One of the things, then now we come to create a new project. Create a new project. When you come to create a new project, come here to the all languages, the languages, and select Visual Basic here. Then you come to this part and then you select Windows. The Windows, you select Windows. Sorry, the platform, you select Windows. Then the type, the project type, you select console, like that. Then you use the first one. No, you use the second one rather, not the first one. Let's use the second one. Console app.net framework. Console app.net framework. This one. So you just click on it. Then you click next. Then you give it a name. So I want to name it project start, something like this. Then I just click create. So once I click create, this is what I get. Good. One of the things you will be using throughout your programming life is probably variables. Anywhere that you go, variables are a very essential part of programming. So what are variables? Variables are simply containers. That is how any layman would explain it to you. And when you come to programming, variables are just spaces in memory. That is how we call it. Spaces in memory. You see, when you are doing data structures and algorithms in programming, which we won't do because that is like well, we'll be doing it practically, but we won't be mentioning that this is like data types and so data structures and algorithms. That is where we get to do matrices and probably sorting, counting, those kind of stuff. So they are just when you are doing data structures and algorithms, you need to know that when you have a RAM, a memory in your machine, there is a way the system or your machine automatically allocates spaces for everything that you do. So the very moment, let's say you start a worksheet in Excel or you start an Excel workbook, a memory is created for it. And when you close it, that memory is destroyed, but the file is saved. But the memory at the time, so if you go to your task manager and you check for RAM, you see that the RAM is like moving up, down, and the space is fully filled up by just one application. An application can take about the small space allocated for it can take like 100% of the entire space. Then your machine is slowing down. Was using too much resources and too much memory. When we come to programming, it's the same thing. Whenever you want to store information for later use, we use what we call a variable. So variables are just spaces in memory. They are just spaces in memory. And when we come to the layman's point of view, variables are just containers for storing information. They are just containers for storing information. Now, when you want to declare a variable in Visual Basic, we are using Visual Basic now. I want us to use VB to understand most of the concepts because I find it more easier to work with. And so everybody will also find it more easier to work with. But as we go along, we will just be looking at variants of the language. So when we have VB.net and we want to do the same thing in C#, how we go about it. So to declare a variable in VB, you use what we call dim. Dim simply means dimension, shortcut for dimension. So dimension is like the language was written in like they wanted to be something like a mystic world for them. So that we are moving from one dimension to the other. And dimensions are like variables. So this dimension is different from that dimension. So thing is simply a dimension. But dimension is, even when we come to mathematics, dimension just something like some length of like a length or the width of an object. So we are just creating a length, or we are just creating a space, a dimension, a space for them. So this is like dimension. So thing. Now, then you bring the variable name. How do you want to name this container? How do you want to call it? So probably I want to call it now. Then you declare it as something. You declare it as something. So for now, I would just want us to use string, a string. So when you say dim num, sorry, I didn't bring as. Dim num as string. What we are trying to tell this thing to do is that I want you to create a space. That space must accept strings. That space must accept strings. When we come to data types, a string is simply text. Strings are text. So for this one, we call it a declarative language. VB.NET is a declarative language, just like Java. Java, not JavaScript. Just like Java and just like C# itself. Even C is declarative. Because you need to tell the variable what type of variable it is. But JavaScript is like interpreted. JavaScript is interpreted. It is not strictly typed. JavaScript we say is a loosely typed language, but this one is strictly typed. When you say a language is strictly typed, that means that if you don't tell it what it must do, it will produce errors for you. If you don't tell it how it must look like, it will produce errors for you. So dim num as string. No, I think the num is not cool. Num shouldn't be a string. Let's make it f name. Dim f name as string. Nobody is complaining about my screen, but I know that definitely the size of my screen isn't good. I think this is better with what I was doing previously. So like I was saying, when you want to create a variable inside of with Visual Basic with VB, what you do is to say dim. Then the dim, after this dim, the dimension which actually starts the declaration of a variable. You bring the variable name, like container name as string. Sorry. So dim f name as string. Now, at the time of declaring a variable, you can instantiate the variable or you can leave it like that. When we talk of variable instantiation, it's where you actually pass a value to the variable or you wait and pass the value later. Now, so I can say that dim f name as string equals Kofi menu. So if I do something like this, we say that I have instantiated the variable. I have instantiated the variable. I've instantiated because I've now declared it. Like after declaration, I pass the value to it. And that value can be used everywhere within the program that I'm coming to create. But with Visual Basic, you don't need to bring anything after a line. Visual Basic is the most forgiving language you can ever get in the whole world. It forgives you, Papa. It forgives you for all your mistakes that you do. Just like this, when you write string this way, you see when I made small s, it automatically corrected it to capital caps. But that's what it wants. That's what it wants. Good. So this is instantiation. I can equally do something like name s name as string, simply as string without necessarily instantiating it. Then I can later come and say s name equals Yankson, like that. So this one is instantiation and this one is declaration. They are both variables. Now if I come and type f name here this way, if I come to type f name here, there is a problem. There's a problem because you cannot declare a variable twice. You cannot declare a variable twice. A variable name can only be declared once. So you cannot come and declare f name as string equals menu, then f name as string again. No. If you want to use f name, you simply have to use it this way. Sorry. Okay. Why is my typing becoming? You simply have to use it this way. F name equals Yankson, because you have declared it already. So when you want to use it anywhere within your code, you have to. You don't have to say name f name as string again equals something. Now, this what I've done here right now. When I instantiated it, I'm able to use it anywhere within the code. I'm able to use it anywhere within the system or the program or whatever that I'm building. So get this straight. You can declare a variable and instantiate it, or you can declare a variable and and pass a value to it later. Instantiation is simply passing values to your variable. So we have this one. Then we also have we can, like I said, we can do s name equals s name as string equals or let's leave it like that. So this is the variable. This is declaring a variable. You can equally do name num1 as let's say integer. Let's use some integer as integer equals 3. So name f name as string equals name num1 as integer equals 3. Now let's check something. Let's look at something here. I want to do name num1 as integer equals Yankson. This thing we are doing here right now, it won't tell you it's an error. It won't give you any error message or anything of the sort. But this thing is totally wrong for you to do. That is what brings us to data types. But before we do data types, let's go to constants. Let's try to display this. When you want to display this one inside a console, but let me tell you one thing. Consoles in Visual Studio are actually one of the most, some people will say it's one of the most confusing aspect of dealing with learning the programming stuff. But if we are using Windows and you really understand how these consoles work, you will understand how the PowerShell applications, the CM, the command prompt applications on your machine, how they also work. That is it. So if I want to display this, on my screen, I can simply say console console dot write line. Write console dot write. Let's not use write line for now. So this is how to like show it on your screen. Console dot write line. I want to show f name. I want to show whatever I've written here. I want to show whatever that I've written here. So I say console dot write. But you see, when I run this, it will be a flash and go away. Console dot write. It will flash on my screen and just go. Let's try and see. So if you want to start anything that you type, or if you want to run your program, whatever, this is a program that we have written. No matter how you see, this is a program. This is a full. Somebody will say this is a full software. Whatever is here is a full software, but doesn't do anything. Doesn't do much. It actually doesn't do anything. But it's a full program. The very day you write something. At times people use hello world like this, so that to be like, this is the first thing. They always say that, oh, this is the first thing you write when you are programming. Hello world. Once you are able to show hello world, that means you are now a programmer. As somebody will say, oh, the very moment someone writes hello world and calls himself a programmer, that is it. They go about, I'm a programmer. I can program with hello world. So if I run this is where you click to run your program. Start. The start button up there. If I run this, you see it just flashed and went away. That's not how we want it. We want to display what we typed. So when working with console, you need to type console. You need to type console again. Then you bring dot read like this. If you do, you see the reason why I'm saying this thing is so forgiving is that this thing wasn't there. I didn't type it. I only did this. I only pressed enter, and then it brought the bracket for me. So that's that. So this is console.write f name, and then you add console.read. Simple, so that it can stay for you to see. It can stay for you to see what you typed. So beautifully, we have written our first program in this series. This is our first software, Hello World. We are displaying Hello World. So that is about variables. We can change the variable when we press enter. Everything will go. Any key. So you see, you'll be using a console, and they will tell you, this say press any key to close the console. Then you press any key. It's not any key because of the any key you press. It has been designed that way, that when you press any key, it will go away. Good. So we have hello world here. So we can display multiple stuff. Let's just say we have hello here. Then let's do another thing. Name equals world. Now we want to combine these two. We can bring a third variable to combine the two. Somebody is asking why I didn't bring as string. Yeah, I should bring it. For now, we will reach a stage where we will not add as something. But for now, let me bring it just not to confuse you. So dim s name as string. Let's make it strict that it knows it is a string. You can bring a third variable to actually combine the two. So we can simply say dim results. Dim results as string equals good. Let's leave it like that for now. Now somebody will be asking, how do I get this? If you have done a little bit of code writing, you will understand that when you are typing this, let me say dim, Then I say results as string. Whilst I'm typing, you can see that there is something popping up. There is something popping up. This. So you see, it is when I typed dim results. Now check it and I hit space. It automatically brought as. When I want to use this, I will just hit the tab key like this. So I didn't type as, I just hit the tab key. I brought space and then it listed a whole lot of options for me. A whole lot of options for me. What is happening here, we call it IntelliSense. Like the last time we were trying to, this is how the IntelliSense works. This is how IntelliSense works. The last time we downloaded for Visual Studio Code. But for Visual Studio itself, it already has it inbuilt thing. It already has it inbuilt. So we have dim results as then. So once you are typing, it is trying to suggest a whole lot of things to you. We call that the IntelliSense. So this is the IntelliSense within Visual Studio that tries to suggest everything to you so that you can use. Then I started by typing STR. Then it automatically gave me string as the first option and highlighted it. I just have to hit the tab key and it automatically pick the string for me. That's it. So we are saying that we want to combine these two. So what we can do is to simply say fname ampersand sname. Now, what is this ampersand doing there? What is this ampersand doing here? When you come to it's not every language that uses ampersand. It's not every language that uses ampersand. Some language uses plus. Some languages use plus to combine two texts. So when we have dim results as string equals fname ampersand sname, that means it's going to combine the two. It's going to combine the ampersand sign there simply tells it to combine the two. If you have done Excel, Microsoft Excel, that is how it also works in there. So here we are going to rather display results like this. And then let's run and see. So we have hello world, but we combined the two, so it has combined them. Now let's open it up by adding a space here or adding the space there. You can add it anywhere at all. Just one space is enough. Then you hit start and it will automatically pull this time round hello world. Hello world. And there is nothing you can do to this text actually. You are just displaying text you have worked with. Now, what if I don't want to? You see how I'm declaring these variables? They are all strings. We know they are all strings. So why do we have to do dim sname, dim this? You can actually declare all these variables at once. Then come to pass values to them. So we can simply say fname sname results as string. Simple. When you do fname sname results as string, what you are doing is they are all the same thing. They are all the same type of variable. So why do you have to separate them? You can write them as long as you want. So this one actually saves you space and it makes your code readable. It makes your code very readable, very clean and all that. See, one thing about programming is that when you are writing code, your code should be readable. Your code should be, and everybody who picks your code, or everybody who picks your program, should be able to, excuse me, should be able to understand what you are doing. So, Ransford should write a program for me to pick the program and understand what he's doing. If he writes it anyhow, so as a programmer, you shouldn't be like, yeah, I don't want people to see my code. I don't want people to see how I'm doing the thing. Oh, Charlie, I'm hiding certain things. I don't, you don't. A programmer doesn't work like that. A programmer doesn't work like that. Because there are so many times that you are going to use somebody's code to enhance your code that you have written. So when somebody is using your code to enhance, that is how programming grows. That's how you can have different languages. So your code must be clean, must be straightforward. People should be able to read your code and all that. So here I can simply say fname. Oh, take your time. Fname equals Kobina. Then I'll say sname equals Kobina. So that's that. Then we simply add results. Results equals fname and sname. So we declared all the variables up here. Then we passed values to them down here. Then we are showing the results. We are working with strings. We are showing the results. So it's still the same thing we are going to see, like for the hello world that we did. Good. Now we can also put something here, add more. Then we can simply say my name is then you bring the ampersand. You see, this is another string. So how do we write this is a string. So when we are writing a string in Visual Basic, you need to use the quotation marks like this. You have seen me using the quotation marks. So you introduce a quotation mark before you can write your string. You cannot do this. You can't. Whenever you see a red line, just know that your program will run into an error. Your program or the codes you have written will run into an error. I believe everyone is here. Oh, so like play. Ukansi and Yale couldn't join us today. All right. Who is with me here? So you always have to introduce these two brackets. Set bracket. The quotation marks. Yep. Somebody's hand is up or following. Okay. Ojo is following. So you always have to introduce the quotation mark. You see, there are two types of quotation marks. We have the single quote and then the double quote. Now let's try the single quote and see. In Visual Basic, it's not like let's try. I want you to see how in Visual Basic, the very moment you bring a single quote, something is happening. The very moment you bring a single quote, something is happening. You've seen that when I brought the single quote, it has changed the able to green. The green is simply a comment. Whenever you see this in Visual Basic, you are commenting. So what is commenting? You see, when you run a program, the program actually needs, like you, the human using the program, or if you want somebody to be able to pick your program and understand that this is what this part is doing, this is what that part is doing, you can use commenting to do that. At the same time, when you are writing a code and you don't want the program to read that part of code, whatever you are building, that when you reach there, you should skip. You use a comment so that when it reaches there, it will skip. So let's look at something here. In Visual Basic, if you want to comment out a particular line of code, you see codes are read in lines. So you hear somebody will say, oh, Charlie, I wrote about 5,000 lines of code here. These are the lines the person is talking about. Oh, I wrote about 1,000 lines of code. So you can write codes like this, 20 lines of code. I don't know if, I think I have it closed, but this is not to scare you or anything. I want to show you an example of these lines of code and how they can go and kasa. At times they can go deep to thousands, 2,000s. So this is a software, one of my softwares, the Spark actually. This is the Spark. I was working on it yesterday for somebody. The person wants some fee. So this Spark, this is an old code that I wrote. And when you go to the new one, you won't see, okay, these things, they will definitely be there. But you won't see me declaring codes. This type of declaration, you don't group them together. They all come once. But you won't see me declaring now. This was old. This is an old way of old way I was doing it. Now I put everything together. Now this one actually has 3,924 lines of code. So at times we do something like we remove spaces like here, but they are all part of what makes your code readable. All these spaces you see here, they are all part of what makes your code readable. So if I should minimize this to say 100 for you to see things well. So this is it. All these lines of code up to here, 3,924. So they can go deep. I think I have an aspect of this very one that goes deep to the main dashboard also. That goes deep to about 10,000 lines of code because it has plenty stuff in there. Almost everything the software is doing is running from that aspect, and I intentionally made it that way so that I won't have to like, struggle. But now I use more classes and objects. So let's continue. So let's say when I came here, I wrote f name again. And then I passed another variable to it, and I said Kwamina like that. Here there should be something. So let me still bring the Yankson here. Now, probably I don't want the code to read this. What I can simply do, this is the button for actually commenting out any part of your code. So if I hit this, it will put the green. Sorry, it will put the single quote before what I wrote, and it will comment out that particular line. So when the program is reading and it reaches here, it won't read this. Now let's correct this part too. You see, this is a line. This is a string. This is a string. From what you saw here, you've seen that this is a string. And these are variables. So we need to combine them with another ampersand. So that it will be my name is ampersand, f name, ampersand, s name. These are variables. These are variables, and this is simply a string. Put that in mind. This is a string. This is a string. But this is a variable containing the string. This is another variable containing the string. Likewise, the same variable, we passed a second string to it. We will come back to how this one also will work. So with this, let's run it. We are going to get my name is Kobina Yankson. Okay, I think I didn't bring a space, but you understand how this one is also running. So my name is Kobina Yankson. This is what we got. So let's Let's hit enter to remove it from there. Now look at something. Let's look at something here. When I did my name is Kobina Yankson, I want to remove this. Once you remove the single quote, so that means if you place a single quote, it will. But let me remove the single quote. I have F name equals Kobina Yankson, F name equals Kobina Yankson. Can somebody tell me what the final result is going to be? No. The comment is not working here again. Comment here. When I comment, I've commented. It's not about the highlighting itself per se, but you see, we passed a value to this F name. When the program runs, it started this way. Let me stop the program running. It started this way. Now, when it started from here. It started from here actually. It started from here. Then it came from here to this part. Then it declared the variables at this point. Then it came to this place, and then it passed a certain value. I told you that this is a container. This is a container. When something goes in, what was originally there will go out. Unless you tell it that keep the old one and add another one. That one too is there. But by default, whatever goes in pushes out the first one. So it's like first in, first out, FIFO. You have something you call, when you are doing bubbling, sorting and bubbling, you have something you call FIFO LIFO. So first in, first out, and last in, last out. You call it stacking. Yeah. So this is F name, and then we gave it a value of Kobina. So it's like the same individual, you gave birth to your son, you named him Ransford. Then when you went to school, you felt that, no, I don't want to use Ransford anymore. Okay, name the boy Richard. So right now, Ransford's name, this is Ransford. Let's take F name to be your son. So this is your son. You gave him the name Kobina. Then you later came back and told whoever is handling the name that, Charlie, remove Kobina, now put Kwamina there and attach to my surname, which is Yankson. So instead of displaying Kobina Yankson, it has replaced the F name, or it has replaced your son's name with Kwamina. So it is now ignoring this name. Even though it is there, it will ignore it. Then it will come and pick this one instead. Just like Sahara 2 wrote in the comment section that it prioritizes the second code. It prioritizes the second code. So it's actually, you the programmer, you are actually replacing the value of F name with another value. That is how come you are getting this. But if I comment this one out, that means that it is not part of the code. It's not part of the code anymore. It's like when the program is running, the program will skip it. It will skip that aspect of your code. So it will now prioritize this. When it reaches here, it will skip, and then it will come here and do whatever it is supposed to do and run to the end values. So if I keep on passing new values to F name, it will continue displaying the last one. It will display the last one. It won't display everything. It will display just that. We ignore everything, all the stuff you pass, all the value you pass to it, and display just that one. So that is variables. Variables are simply containers we use to store information. Now, there is another type. As for the variable declaration, there are so many ways to declare variables in here. Just when you go to PHP, for instance, you can use global to declare a variable, and the variable can be picked anywhere. That variable can be picked anywhere. So let's look at another forms of declaring variables. We can declare variables by simply saying private private my name. Oh, let's not even start with private to confuse you. Let me start with something very simple, but let's start with constant. How do you spell constant? Constant, yes. Const um const my name as uh, as string as string as string. Now check something. When I did const my name as string, check something. You see, we were doing this and we were saying that the first one you can just declare them without instantiating. Please, you can't declare a variable this way and instantiate them together. It is a bad habit. You can't do that. We don't do that. Don't do this. You can't declare multiple variables as a data type, a certain kind of data type. So we don't do this. You don't do it this way, please. That's why you see the red line. Then, oh sorry. Then we have const. We declare this variable as const. Let me put them here and see. When I put them here, you see we are not having any problem. Then my name as string, but const. There is a variable. There's a type of declarative that is called the const. Constant. When it's just like our normal constant English. Constant. So we have constant my name as string, but this time round you need to whenever you are using constant, you are being forced to instantiate. Whether you like it or not, you need to instantiate it. Now, constant means that this variable can never change anywhere. Once you declare a variable like this, you can never change it within your code. You see, when you have mathematics, let's use a mathematical stuff. We have const. You can declare something like const pi as decimal equals 3 point, I don't know whether it's 3.15 or 3.13, whatever it is. Let's accept whatever I've written, whether it is correct or not. Let's accept it. So now you see, this one has been instantiated. The reason why you are seeing the underline is nothing. It's just saying that it is unused. It is unused. So that's that. So constant pi as decimal equals 3.15. That means anywhere within the code, you cannot change constant. So maybe I come here and I do pi equals 12. How dare you? You can't do this. You can't do this. You see, it has underlined. It has even under. You can't run the code, Ankasa. There were build errors. Would you like to continue to run the code? And let me just say yes. And let's see what happens. It will display whatever we have here, because this one is not even displaying the pi or something of the sort. Let's display pi like this. Here, no, you can't display pi here. So pi as decimal equals 3.15. Pi. Let's do that. So when you are using constant is constant. So the reason why it's underlined, it tells us that pi as decimal, constant cannot be changed. Constant cannot be the target of an assignment. So when you have this and you say constant equals people like this, you are telling it that wherever you see this, wherever you see my name, wherever you see pi, let the value be this. So when we come here, let's just say my name like this. So let's run this, and then we are likely to see people, my name. So you can use constants to You can use constants to, how do we call it, put in a static value. You can use constant to put in a static value, and that static value will run throughout your entire program. So Yali and Charlie, they didn't join us. No problem. Now let's move to data types, because probably these two will be using them much. What is a data type? A data types are like how the name sounds. Data types. You see, whatever we are doing here, we are passing data. This is data. This is data. This 3.15 is data. Data types are actually the variance of the kind of values or the kind of data we are passing to variables, or we are using within our code. So we have this people, or let's say this Kobina is a value, is a data, is data, and the type of data is a string. There are various data types that we can work with. I want to comment out everything here, so I'll just highlight whatever we have here, and then I'll hit this. If you want to uncomment, you use this button, this symbol, to just uncomment. So comment, uncomment. If you comment 3 times, some machines may give you problems. If you comment 3 times, yeah, some machines may give you problems. So let's just comment twice or once, like this. Whether twice or once, it still works. Now, okay, you shouldn't do anything here, but you should definitely, something must definitely happen in there. That's why there was the red line. There are various types of, we have a string. Okay, for these ones, I will want to use comments. Okay, I see what can't work with them. So we have strings. It will keep on underlining. So don't worry about the underlining it is doing. I just want to show you the various types that probably you'll be working with along the line a lot. So we have strings. We have a string. A string is simply a text. A string is a text. Great. We have integers. So we have integer. Integer is another data type. So it is a type of data. It's an integer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But these ones, integers cannot accept decimal values. So there is what we call the decimal. There is a decimal. So the data type is that it is a decimal. It's a string. It's an integer. Then after decimal has a precision point. For now, I can't tell you off head. You have to cross check. I think you can look it up. The precision point for decimals. They have precision point. They have, every data type has precision point, actually. So it has precision points in bytes. So how many bytes can it hold? Some go up to kilobytes. There is also another type of data. So decimals, when you were in school, you all know decimals, point, something. But there is another type of data that takes both decimals and integers. And they are 2. You can use the double. We have double. Double takes everything. It's like an animal that can eat anything that you give it. And the same thing goes with float. Float doesn't work in here. Oh, so I'm pushing something from Visual. So I said Visual JavaScript here. That is it. So in VB, string, integer, decimal, double. There are others. There are a lot. But probably you'll be using these ones a lot. We have lists. Yes, we have list. This is a list. Just see it this way, like this. List. It's a list. It's also a type of data. So the data is that you can pass, but list can take anything from here. It can take. It's also a data type on its own. but it can take any of these data types. So a list of, say, double, a list of string, a list of this, a list of that. Then there's another data type which we call an array, a very powerful type of data, very powerful type of data. And arrays are like string, they are like lists. They are also like lists. But as you go along these things, you better appreciate them and how they work. So strings, integer, decimal, double, um, these are some of the data types that we have that we'll be working with more and more. There are other data types. When you go to other programming languages, there are other data types in there. But for the purpose of VB, we'll be using this. We'll be using string integers. So when we pass a value, when we have, let me comment all these so that there's actually a shortcut, a very long shortcut, unlike. So let's do something like dim num1 as decimal. So we can add more num2 as decimal. Let's work with. We are not doing algorithms today, but let's just work with it because let me see. Variables, constants, data types, type conventions, and conversions. We come to arithmetic operators. So when we have dim num1, num2 as decimal, then we can do num1 equals, say, 3.5, num2 equals 5, this way. Let's just do it this way. They are both decimals, but Visual Studio understands, or the programming logic understands that num1, 5 is a number. If even it is an integer, a decimal still accepts an integer. A decimal still accepts an integer. So we can display num2 this way, and we will still get the number that we passed for it, like that, 5. We can still display num1. But by default, once you click the start, Visual Basic automatically saves your work and gives you the result that you are looking for. So we have this. Can we do num1 and num2? And num2, yeah, num1 and num2. Let's run this and see what is going to happen. Yes, you see, it wrote 3.55 because we are not doing any addition here. We are just concocting. Let me put it that way. We are just concocting whatever text we have in there. We are just whatever values we have in there. We are just bringing them together. We are not adding them. We are not subtracting them. We are not doing anything special to them. That is arithmetic. That is arithmetic. We haven't got into arithmetic, so we won't go there. The same way, let's do this, and then I just want us to try something. Let's do this, pass this value to it, and just say runs, something of the sort. Let's run this and see, and then let's see what it tells us. Good. It has beautifully told us that conversion from string runs to type decimal is not valid. I told you that in the previous one that you will see that at times it won't tell you anything. It won't underline your code for you. But as a matter of fact, it will go run into an error and tell you that what you are trying to do is not allowed. What we are trying to do is not allowed. So just like we have it here, it says that num1 equals runs. We declared num1 as a decimal. You are telling the system that num1 is a decimal. Meanwhile, you are trying to pass a string to num1. You are trying to pass a string to num1, which is not done that way. So you cannot pass a string to this. You cannot pass because it doesn't understand R, it doesn't understand E, it doesn't understand N and S. Let's type 2 in here. Now check. You see, it ran, even though it is a string. Can somebody explain to me why it ran even though it is a string? I think I gave the answer before writing 2. Now, let's look at the error we got in here. Let's look at the error. Let's see this. Runs. Then let's run. Look at what it told us when it ran into the error. It says that conversion from string runs to type decimal is not valid. Now, whenever you run Visual, I told you that Visual Studio, or let's say VB as a language, it is the most forgiving language in the whole world. It will forgive you for all your errors. Other languages won't give you that bagger wire. Now, this is it. Whenever you run a program, it tries to do some levels of conversions to ensure that your code meets standard. It tries to do conversions. So it will try to convert whatever you have put, even if it's a string. It will try to convert it. But you see, this is runs. This is runs. Runs, R is not a number. A is not a number. Even if you have numbers, then there is just one letter in there. The program doesn't understand that letter to be a decimal, to be a number. But when you put 2 there, it will try to convert that string 2 into a number. And automatically it will find out that, okay, there is 2 there and 2 is a number. So that means, oh, it's the number the person is trying to work with. So let me display. Let me not give an error. It's still correct. Nobody should get lost at this point. When I say num1 equals to, like this, say num1 equals 12.56, something like this. It understands that this is a number. This is a number. The same num1 also understands that string 12.56 is a number. It's a decimal. It understands that this is a decimal. This is a decimal and it can process it, but doesn't understand this to be a decimal. And you and I all will agree. But someone will be lost and say, this is a string because we put it in a string. Yes, we brought the quotation back to make it a string. But as a matter of fact, it is seeing a number in there. So it will think of it as a number than a string. This is principle. This is a principle. It's not like, oh, then they are joking here. No. Almost every programming language understands this principle. That when a string contains a number and the variable has been declared as a number, you should be able to pick it. But if the variable has been declared as a number and then you pass in anything that isn't a number as a string, you should ignore it. Like you should be able to, it should run into an error. But you see, when you declare a string, let's say name my name as string. When you declare a string this way, anything can go in there. A number, whatever style you do it. So you can have, let's comment out everything here. Let's comment out everything here. So you can have something like my name equals 5 equals 8. This is not an error. This is not an error. A string can pick a number. Let's test this. Let's test and see. My name. Then let's run. It can pick a number. It doesn't really care. For a string, it doesn't care whether you are passing a number to it as a string, as no. So when I do this and I bring this, sorry, one. Oh, which one? Good. It will still run it. We can put the oh sorry, Ojo is here. As for this one, you are actually telling it that oh, it's a string, so display. For the string, it can display numbers. It can accept numbers and convert and display and do anything you want it to do for you. String can do that. But numbers, numbers, decimals, floats, doubles, they cannot accept strings. They cannot accept strings that are letters, that are not numbers. I believe this one has sunk well with everyone. So when you are declaring data types, you must know what you are putting in there. If it's a string and you want to pass numbers, values, numbers and text, the string will pick it. But if it's a number and you attempt to pass all these things that I've said, it will only accept a string if there is a number in there. If it is not like there's a number, if it is a number. But they cannot accept a string if they are letters. Great. I believe the understanding is clear to all of us. Anyone with any question at this point? Yeah, I'm actually recording. So. Anyone with any question at this point?